If you can't hear us, or if your neighbor can't hear us, if it's obvious that they're trying to figure out their radio, now's the time to raise your question mark and get one of our attendants to help you figure out the radio so that you can hear during the service. We'll start in just a couple minutes. You need a clip? That's great. That's awesome. Thank you.
Hi. I know. It's so quiet here. Yeah, it's weird.
For those who are joining us online, it's time to get your candles ready and your Kiddush cup and challah and find a spot so that we can begin our service together in a moment. So get comfortable.
Hey.
Those who are here with us in person, you should have gotten a handout when you pulled in. It's, I think, 4 pages. It has not all of our prayers on it, but many of our prayers on it that we'll be using tonight. So you can use that as your prayer book, and that's yours to keep. We don't want any cooties coming back into the building. So keep your cooties on the siddur and take it home as a memento. So we're going to start. We hope everybody who's here in person can see us. We know that there is little that's ideal about this scenario. So hopefully we can do our best. Kathy and I will try to be able to see you and make eye contact and move around our stage a little bit. But most importantly, we hope you can hear us. And we're just glad and really thrilled to all be here together. So we'll start with our nigun as we'll share Shabbat together. And then we'll light our candles. For those who are lighting at home, it's obvious. For those of you for whom this is your first ever drive-in Shabbat, experiencing it in your car, the traditional way to light candles is to turn your lights on. So make sure your lights are off, and when we say the blessing, you'll light your 2 lights. We're thrilled to have Aaron back with us. He's been with us for WOW Worship and helping us out a number of times throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity to have him back and to be able to share his music with us. So thanks, Aaron, for being here. And I'll say one last thing, which we might say a few times, but a huge thanks to Kylie, and Kylie especially, because she really put everything together, but also to Kim and Lauren and everybody at Temple. So thank you all for making it organized. And yeah, good. Now we know you can hear us. Yeah. as all of these sources of light, these candles, these lights, bring light into our world, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light as well. Please join us with the candle blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu להדליק נר של Shabbat.
It used to be the case that when our ancestors would go to recite Lecha Dodi, having worked so hard to set up their home for Shabbat, that they would take this moment to go outside and get into the field and just look out at the largeness of the world. And so we, in this new way this evening, are outside together, away from our homes, even though we're separated by space and by windows and by doors. We are here in the same place as a community, and so we share in the words of Lecha Dodi, page 20 in the prayer books for those who are following along in their prayer book, in the handout for those who have it. We join together in these words as we reflect back on our week, and as we thank God for the ability to be here together and to once again welcome Shabbat as a community together.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'lutila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki himako habaracha merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh v'mashka v'tfila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orak u'miori, uri, uri, shir daveri, kavod Adonai ala niknila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Look towards the east. Bo'i v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha u'sof olam, toch emuneh am segula. Bo'i chala, bo'i chala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Hatzi Kadosh.
Yikada v'yikada shemei raba, Be'oma divrach yurte v'yamlichvachute B'chayecha u'v'yomecha u'v'chayedecha ben Yisrael Ba'agala u'vizman kariv Va'imeru Amen Yehesh me'rava mavorach Ve'alamu me'amaya yitbarach Yitbarach v'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar v'yitroma v'yitnaseh V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei d'kudashah barechu Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata Da'amiron be'alma Ve'imeru Amen.
Page 28, the words of our Baruch, our call to worship. The Baruch, as with any of our call and response prayers, is a way of us saying to you, are you here? And so I think it's appropriate we all give one horn honk. After I say, are you here? Are you here? Beautiful, beautiful. People at home are loving it. So the Baruch Hu is our way of saying we've gathered, that we are with each other, and so we share the words of the Baruch Hu. It's page 28 in the prayer books for those who are at home. As we share these words, we begin our service as a community.
If you're at home, please rise. If you're with us today, just sit a little straighter upward so that we would face east and pray together.
La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai. HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'id HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'id.
Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Ved Yisrael Amecha Avta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Otanu limadeta Akein Adonai Eloheinu b'shofteinu Kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו ובאים נגד יומם ולילה נגד יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל אוהב עמו ישראל
Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malachutu Leolam Vayid. And thou shalt love Adonai thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in thy heart, shall be in thy heart. And thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and thou shalt speak of them when thou sittest in thy house, when thou walkest by the way, and when thou risest up, and when thou liest down, and when thou liest down. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between thine eyes. And thou shalt write them on the doorposts of thy house, and upon thy gates, and upon thy gates, that ye may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
We're told that the words of Michamocha, sung by the Israelites, was the song of men and women who joined in understanding, who had respect for each other. We all know that the 1.5 million, we believe, Israelites who crossed the sea were not of the same political persuasion. We know that they argued, and we know that they shared their different opinions, as our people always have. But this song, a song of freedom, a song of peoplehood, has always been our prayer, that we as a people can be together no matter our opinions, no matter our perspectives. Michamocha is page 40 for those who have their prayer books at home.
Elim Adonai, mi kamacha nedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot oseh pele, nora tehilot oseh pele. Malachutecha na'u banecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe. Ze'elianu ve'amaru, ze'elianu ve'amaru. Adonai Yimelo le'olam va'ed. Adonai Yimelo le'olam va'ed. Mi kamacha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamacha Yashar v'kodesh, Nora tehilot, oseh pelech, Nora tehilot, oseh pelech.
Our prayer for evening peace, Hashkivim.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shalomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, guide wrong from right, O Adonai. Amen. Amen, amen. Amen, amen, amen. O Adonai.
I went to rabbinical school in Los Angeles and spent 5 years there. And for an hour every day, I sat in a place much like where you're sitting right now, as I sat in traffic in my car. And I spent that time talking to my family and friends. And also, as our teacher would offer to us, it was also time to pray. Because we were by ourselves, you're in the car, you can't go any faster than the roads are letting you go. And it was our time to connect with those we love, and our time to find our own personal silence in our little bubble of our car. And so as we pray the words of our Amidah, I hope that some of that experience translates to where we are right now. That even though we are here and can see each other, that we also have some version of silence in our little bubble of a car, our time to connect with those whom we love, to think of those people, our family members, our friends, to look back and think of our ancestors, those who came before us, and to have a moment of silence where we get to offer our own prayers. And so we'll share the words, a slightly abbreviated Amidah, but a chance for us to offer our own prayers as we share the words that begin page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Hayom, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chaser Avot v'Imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
Page 60 in our prayer books, our greatest prayer for peace, Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha תשים לעולם. יתום מלך אדום לכל השלום. יתום מלך אדום לכל השלום. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בידיך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
We take a moment for our own personal reflection and to add, in our own way, our words to these prayers.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. And it flows like a river. It flows like a river. It flows like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain. I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. Let me hear you clap. And it flows like a fountain. It flows like a fountain. It flows like a fountain in my soul. Love like the ocean. I've got love like the ocean. I got love like the ocean. I got love like the ocean in my soul. And it flows like the ocean. It flows like the ocean. It flows like the ocean in my soul. Sim shalom tova tova uvracha sim b'chesed v'rachamim. Sim shalom tova tova uvracha sim b'chesed v'rachamim. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. And it flows like a river. It flows like a river. It flows like a river in my soul.
We take that sense of peace and we offer it to those who are in need of healing. Those, especially in these days, not only those who suffer physically themselves, but all those who in this strange world that we're in have a harder time caring for their loved ones because perhaps they're the only one who can be with them, or we can't be as close to them as we would like, to offer our helping hand. So for all of those who are suffering, and for all of those who are helping those who are suffering, and for all of us who are suffering because we can't help those who are suffering, we offer our Misha Berach. Those who are following us online can feel free to put names into the chat, and you can feel free to share names aloud as we share these words.
Misha our source of strength, who bless the one before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebera imotenu akor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May they all find a refuah shlema, a full sense of healing. And may all of those who love them find a sense of peace, as we say Amen. I want to say first Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and thank you. I forgot to mention at the beginning of our service that it's great to have our police officers back as well. They, in the last 2 years, became a part of our community, and so it's nice to have Muncie back and to have our parts of our community rejoin as we slowly make our way back. And secondly, that I thought, if somebody were to run out of gas, I think, thankfully, a gas station's not too far, but if you do, I think I'll take that as an optimistic sign that you didn't think the sermon was going to be that long. And so I'll thank you for that optimism, and sorry if I disappoint you. But I wanted to share something I've shared a number of times in different smaller settings where we've gotten together, that in these recent weeks and months, I have found myself, I'm sure like you, noticing things that I've done that I never thought I would be doing. Just a couple weeks ago, I spoke on the phone with a family of a bar mitzvah student who's been doing a wonderful job, so prepared for his bar mitzvah, working hard, and the family's excited. And here I am, their rabbi, convincing them not to have a bar mitzvah. We were prepared for lots of conversations in rabbinical school, but no one ever told us how to talk to a family about not having a bar mitzvah when they had done everything they were supposed to do and were so excited about welcoming their son into being a Jewish man. Just like I never imagined I would have to explain to my children why they shouldn't go to school, or my parents why they shouldn't visit, or telling the social justice groups that we're so close with, especially in these times, the groups that are fighting racism, that we can't march and stand next to them as a Jewish community, even though they joined us and stood next to us when the synagogue was shot up in Pittsburgh. I never thought I'd use my computer to have a conversation with my neighbor who lives 100 yards away, and I never thought I'd be the spiritual leader of a tailgate party. And despite having what some would call a face made for radio, I never thought I'd have my own station. I point these things out, thank you, because tonight I want to give us a very specific homework assignment. The assignment is to start noticing what is different, what is missing or what could be missing in a few months, and to start making our high holiday list. Rabbi Sidney Greenberg wrote that too often we fail to take adequate note of the precious things while we have them. But as soon as we lose them, we become painfully aware of the blank spaces in our lives. He likens this experience to the theft in 1911 of the Mona Lisa. During the 2 years that the Mona Lisa was missing, it's reported that more people went to stare at the blank space on the wall where it once hung than had visited the museum in the previous 12 years. Our Hebrew month of Elul has begun now this past week, which means that Rosh Hashanah is less than a month away. It is time to start making our lists. I will make mine, and I hope you will make yours. In what has been a year like no other, when school years and bar mitzvahs are missing from our calendars, when sanctuaries are bare and issues of justice are hijacked by health concerns, we know that our eyes are wide open to these things that we often take for granted, that we look around our world and our walls, and we see the blank spaces. So let's write them down while we are noticing them so vividly in our mind. Write down how important school is, how important gathering is, how important being in touch with those we love is, how important a hug is. Let's spend this month taking account of those things we so often don't recognize, but that are so integral to our lives. The celebration of a child becoming a young adult, a crowd gathered to sing, to march together, to pray together, a school filled with children unafraid of the world that they will inherit, and a space, something more comfortable than a parking lot, where that which is sacred can be shared publicly, proudly, and in person. And so I want to start my Erev Rosh Hashanah sermon now, which is why you needed extra gas in your car. Because on Rosh Hashanah, I want us to talk about that list. And I want to talk about it in terms of how Rabbi David Wolpe frames it. He says, all repair begins with appreciation. That we cannot know what we need to fix in this world until we know how deeply we need it and how much we appreciate it, so that we can build it back to be the way that we need it to be. The month of Elul is our month to prepare for the holidays. It's our list-making month, our time to notice that which is important so that we know what our mission will be in the year to come. If we want 5781 to be a better year, we have to start collecting what we appreciate. And so I want us to notice what's missing on our walls, or perhaps what has become so evident, such an important part of our daily lives, that once we do get back to normal, we know we can't live without it. And perhaps we realize we never could. On Erev Rosh Hashanah, I will share my list with you of what I appreciate now because I see it missing from our sight at this moment. And I've already started to make my list. I invite you to join me in doing the same. Let's open our eyes to all that we take for granted in these moments, especially when what we take for granted is standing right in front of us. So obvious. Let us use this month to prepare to rebuild our world to the way we envision it for ourselves, for our people, and for our children. Shabbat Shalom. We turn now to remember those that we've lost. An easy way of thinking about a picture that is on a wall that's missing, a face that was a part of our life that we no longer can see right before us, but that we know is present. This week, we continue to remember those that we've recently lost in our community, Edward Vingerman and Mel Stern. We add to their names Michael Adler, Vera Alexander, Louis Philip Birnbaum, Stephen Black, Sally Roth Cohen, Arnold Ehrenberg, Sylvia Fetterman, Cy Feinsilber, Harry G. First, Regina Frost, Isidore Glick, Reba N. Hollab, Dr. Irvin N. Kaplan, Samuel D. Cates, Celia Katz, Dr. Irving Kavar, Albert Klausner, Hannah Koplan, Libby Kraus, Dr. Alan Krivis, Sarah Lauf, Rebecca S. Leeper, Matthew A. Morgolis, Ronnie Marks, Lucille Meerman, Benjamin Moorstein, Raymond Munitz, Sidney Newman, Dora Rabb, Sherwin Rebeck, Israel Sass, Bibi Schachter, Ruth Schaefer, Margaret L. Schweda, Rose Sarelson, Betty Jane Schechter, Eric Lee Shears, Sheila Silver, Louis Skegan, Samuel Sperber, Esther Spiro, Sarah Sweedler, Sadie Tobias, Stuart Willen, and Sam Wolfand. We invite you to share any names aloud that you would like to remember at this moment as we prepare to share the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Page 294 for those who are in our prayer books, and those who are with us in person, it is in your handout. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'yalmad yivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala uv'izman kariv v'yimaru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal. Shemei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Damiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. L'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Having connected with those that we've loved and lost, we ask those of you who are at home to find a way to connect with those around you, those of you who are with us, to hold up your Shabbat Shalom sign. As we connect with each other, we offer the blessing of the priests. May God bless you and keep you. May God's presence be with you and be gracious unto you. May we always know what's missing, what we need to add to our world, and may we find a way to bring those to fruition as we bring peace to our world and God's presence as well, as we say.
Amen.
And now, I once had a professor tell me that a rule is not a rule unless it can be broken. And so we're going to let one couple break a rule. We're going to invite Al and Sandy Moses to get out of their car. We strategically parked them where they wouldn't be near anybody, because had it been a normal world, we would have celebrated their 60th anniversary last week. And so we have a challah and kiddush. We're going to invite our couple that we're so honored to have here. 60 years in a week. If you'll come around, there's a table with kiddush and motzi. First, we're going to share the words of Shakianu as we pray for them, that we have many, many more moments to celebrate with them and with all of us as we reach. And that's the nightly news is covering the nightly news is covering their anniversary. So please, let's join together in Shakianu as we bless Al and Sandy, and then they'll lift up our glass for kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'hegianu lazman hazeh.
Amen.
Give a honk shout out. If
Now,
you raise your Kiddush cup.
You'll raise the kiddush cup. You might need to put a little wine in it. Raise the kiddush cup as we'll join together and bless this moment and this Shabbat with the words of kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lamikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziad mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta, Yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodshecha, Be'ahava uvratzon, Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh, HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim.
And now, Sandy, if you'll uncover the challah, we'll share in motzi together, and everybody should have a little mini challah in their car. You're welcome to hold it up.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lachem min haaretz. Amen.
Just real quick announcements, which are first, thank you all. Thanks again to Kylie and to all of our staff and the police officers and Charles. Where's Charles? Charles Levi? Charles is somewhere. Who set up all of our technology. But most importantly, thank to all of you. It's so nice to be together in whatever way we can, to find a way to make our community present for each other. And I know we've been trying to do that in thousands of ways, and this is just a new tool on our belt, which is why at the holidays we're excited to be able to do this a few times. And so you'll see in the window that's coming out in a few days, but also in your email, that for Slichot and for the end of Yom Kippur, we will be here also, weather permitting, of course. And so we hope to be together a few times over the holidays, lots of times online, but it's just thank you and really wonderful that we're able to be here and see each other. When it's time for us to leave, after we finish with this closing song, the back row gets to go first. And so if you're in the back row, everybody else will let you leave first. Make sure not to drive over the wires here. So we've put cones there, so if you hit the cones and you drive over the wires after we've announced it, then we'll have a different conversation. But please don't do that. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody. We encourage you to join us as we welcome Joni Mitchell to the Bima. And we share a version of the song that was never released, but that was meant for this moment. So please join with us. The words are in your handout.
We made paradise, Shabbat in a parking lot, with an FM stereo, a stage, and a cell phone hotspot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? We made paradise, Shabbat in a parking lot. Ooh, ba, 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 ba. Ooh, ba, 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 ba. We separate to maintain our 6-foot space. We're singing our prayers, we're in our happy place. Yeah, don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? We made paradise, Shabbat in a parking lot. Ooh, ba, 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 ba. We made paradise, Shabbat in a parking lot. Ooh, ba, 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 ba. We made paradise, Shabbat in a parking lot. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.